Hello, my name is Chad. I'm with Twit and Before You Buy, and today I'm reviewing 3 different gaming products. First is a monitor by AOC. Next is a mouse by ROCCAT. And finally is a speaker system, a 2.1 speaker system by GX Gaming. Let's go ahead and start off with the monitor. This monitor is a 24-inch 1080p monitor. It has a 144 hertz refresh rate. This is a twisted pneumatic film LCD, which means that which means that it's not an IPS display. Many people understand what an IPS display is. This is twisted pneumatic film. That means that it will have a faster response time, but it will not give you the same viewing angles that an IPS display will give you. One of my favorite things about this monitor is the stand. It has an adjustable height and tilt, so if you want to easily make this tilt for document viewing, you easily can. It is a 16:9 aspect ratio, so it feels very tall when it's fully tilted. The base also swivels easily. There's a plate on the bottom portion of the stand which allows it to swivel back and forth very easily. The menu system is pretty easy. It comes up from the bottom here. You can switch between settings. It has a small animation. Menu system was really good. And then it also has different modes, has 4 different inputs. It has DVI, HDMI, DisplayPort, and VGA. Another feature that it has, which I really loved, was it is a USB hub. It has 2 USB ports on the side. One of them is powered. And then on the bottom of the monitor, there's also 2 USB ports. Right now, my keyboard and mouse are plugged into those ports, so you can kind of see where they line up on the monitor. Because of the LED backlighting, it was very bright. This is an incredibly bright monitor. In fact, I basically couldn't look at it if it was dark in the room. I had to turn on extra lights, otherwise my eyes would just be blinded. It also has a 144 refresh rate, and they claim a 1 millisecond lag time. Now, we didn't quite have equipment to review that in studio, but digitalversus.com did a review of the lag time, and they found that in their testing, there was an average of 8.5 millisecond lag time between switching from black and white. That's how they test that. We're going to save the pros and cons for later on in the review, kind of like a refresher course on all the products. Now moving on to the mouse. This is the ROCCAT Kova mouse. They have very interesting names for their mice. This is a gaming mouse, and one of the nicest features about it is that it is both left and right-handed. This can go up to 3200 DPI, which is a very high DPI range for a gaming mouse, and that's expected. Some of the features that it has is it has up to 7 different buttons on the mouse. It has 2 over here, 2 over here. Of course, your normal 2 buttons right here. That brings it up to 6, and then your middle click button as well. This mouse supports a feature called Easy Shift, and I didn't think I would love this feature right off the beginning, but I actually found out I used it all the time. So what is Easy Shift? Well, this button right here is your Easy Shift button, and whenever you have it pressed down, all the other buttons can do something while you are in game, or even in a browser, just browsing around. So, as an example, if I click the Easy Shift button now and I scroll the mouse wheel up and down, this will actually change the volume of my computer while I'm not in a game. So here I've been browsing Reddit. If I hold down the Easy Shift button and left click, it will go back, and so I can go back to the front page, or if I right click, it will go forward. I didn't think that I would love this feature. I absolutely adore it. Also, in 4 places around the mouse, there are the RGB LEDs, so you can see it sort of flashing. It goes through a cycle if I haven't selected a color with the driver. I tested this on my home computer, so I don't have the driver loaded up on this Windows 8 machine here, but at home on my Windows 7 machine, I do, and you can choose specific colors. It will switch colors once you do Easy Shift mode, so that's kind of an easy indicator of when you have switched into Easy Shift. But if there's no set color, it will just cycle through a few, which is kind of a nice looking thing. The outside of the mouse has sort of a soft touch feel to it, especially along the sides right here. These grips, you can kind of see how my finger, it does grip very well, especially right here. Then this is a sort of slick plastic. The whole mouse is of plastic construction. Along the bottom, there is either a sticker or a little piece of metal around the image sensor. And I found that I have 2 cats, and I got cat hair in here all the time, and I'd have to rip it out every once in a while. So I kind of found that, for my situation, was a little bit of a bummer. Moving on to the speakers. These are GX gaming speakers. This is a 2.1 setup, not surround sound. 2 being you have left and right, and 1.1 being that you have a subwoofer. This uses a normal 3.5mm jack to plug into the back of your computer, and then it plugs into this controller. Now this controller might seem big, but I really love the functionality that this included. You have a really nice volume knob on the front, as well as an independent bass knob, and this does respect the volume. So if you have your bass cranked all the way up, you're not just going to get really loud bass even though the volume might be turned down. It does respect the volume knob, which I really liked. You also have a standby button, which seems a little bit redundant because you also have a power button on the back of the device. You have a power toggle right here, so that seemed pretty redundant. You can see the back of this. You have your inputs, and then you have your outputs. You get just a single RCA for each left-right speaker, and then another black RCA for the subwoofer. And then I used the left-right RCA for the computer, and then this is another auxiliary input right here, which you can plug into, say, a phone, or maybe another stereo system if you want to route it over. On the front, you also have a headphone mic and another auxiliary in. So you have a total of 3 inputs into this little base station here. How do you switch between the inputs? Well, that's the last button here, this source. And you can easily switch blue. The blue LED stand is for basically the RCA connector. The green is for the line in on the back, and the orange is for the line in on the front. If this gets confusing to you, they've made it a little bit simpler because the included wires sort of match what the color of the LED is. This is as close as the orange as I could get. If I switch back to blue, there isn't a blue, well, there is actually, you could either use this blue cable, so you could flip it around. I did it the other way so that it is close to green, and so it kind of matches, so I can keep my chords and my colors in the right order. As far as how does it sound? Well, it sounds really well. Everything was crisp and clear. I was a little bit worried when I was listening to Skype audio that things were a little bit muddy, but I never found that it was ununderstandable at any point in time. I have a little bit of music that I can play from my phone. Let me switch sources, and we can listen to a little bit. And then also take a look at this sub while we're doing that, because it will, there's a LED light in there that will light up anytime that the sub gets going big time. That's really useful. Okay, time for the pros and cons. Let's go ahead and start off with the monitor. On the pro side, the motion and lag time I found was pretty great, even though 8.5 milliseconds, you will never notice that, especially when playing on a multiplayer game. Also, I really love this stand. The swivel, the height adjustment, the fact that it could tilt all the way over, the stand was a really nice feature. And finally, the USB hub was really great, having 4 extra USB ports right in on the monitor. On the cons, the fact that other monitors in this category do have 3D support and this one does not was a little bit of a bummer. And then also those speakers were really crap, so definitely don't use the speakers on this monitor. Next, for the ROCCAT mouse. On the pros, I like that it was left and right-handed, so for both types of gamers. The RGB LEDs were really nice, and that shift and that easy shift button I found that I really enjoyed. On the cons, it's a little bit light, and the finish did get a little bit tarnished after a while. Normally, with just rubbing it down with a cleaner, got rid of most of it, but there is still a little bit of tarnish after doing that. Now, moving on to the speakers from GX Gaming. On the Pros, I really like that it would take from multiple sources. There are wall mounts on the back of the two speakers, which is really nice, and I like that the sub lit up with that LED, as gimmicky as it is. For the cons, the jacks on the front and back of the base station felt very cheap, and I almost needed two hands to unplug to replug in something. It feels really cheap and difficult to use. And there's no anti-slip feeding on the side of these speakers, so I found that they would get bumped around on my desk an awful lot. Even if I had them close to my mouse, they could get sort of pushed around a bit by just moving my mouse around. So, buy, try, don't buy for these three gaming peripherals. Starting off with the monitor, this comes in at a price of $269.99 online. MSRP is a little bit higher. I'm going to give this one a buy. I really liked the extra features of the USB. I didn't find that the lag time significantly impacted anything. 8.5 milliseconds was just fine for me. I liked all the features except for the speakers in the back. Moving on to the ROCCAT mouse, I'm going to give this one a buy. It only costs $40, $39.99, and the Easy Shift was a feature that I am sorely going to miss on other mice. I found that the button placement was perfect for my thumb, and I could easily use that Easy Shift button. Finally, with the speakers from GX Gaming, I'm going to give these guys a try, mostly because of the feel. They feel just a little bit light and a little bit inexpensive. They come in at $100, although that's not that bad of a price for speakers. So I'm giving this one a try, just because I don't feel 100% about these guys after living with them for a few weeks. But some really nice features with the different sources that you can use. And that about wraps it up for these three gaming peripherals. I've been Chad Johnson for Twit, and Before You Buy. See you next time.